I've always been fond of performing in front of the people when I was a kid, showcasing my abilities in dance to my friends, but I never thought of pursuing dance as a career. Benil gave me the chance to pursue this passion by granting me a scholarship, which greatly helped me and my family. Being an academic scholar really taught me to balance my life in between work and my studies. I have to maintain my grades and render tutorial services while taking dance classes and doing productions. We were also encouraged to take other classes, workshops, get exposed outside, and join competitions. And this entire journey has also taught me to give time for yourself and just have fun, as long as it will not hinder your learning process. I came to Benilde without much experiences and knowledge about dance. But because Benilde practiced innovative education, I've learned from great and well-known artists, performed in different productions, and even created my own choreographies. And all of this would not be possible without the help of our teachers, who are very hands-on, guiding and training us to be creative and to think outside the box.
I've had many opportunities to explore the world of dance since I graduated in Benilde last 2018. I'm presently teaching classes with studios in Manila, and I am also currently a senior choreographer and member of TPM, that's Team Package Makers. I am competing with them locally and internationally. I am also the coach of UARM's Cruciate Dance Company. I was able to escape the social stigma dictated by parental choices and what society expects you to be because of Benilde. This school allowed me to embrace who I really am by making my passion a profession. Benilde really nurtured our talents and creativity by just letting us be ourselves. What I've learned here is to be outside of the box and to always be different and think of other possibilities instead of staying within the bounds of the status quo. Unfortunately, that's not going to be easy. There are lots of sacrifices that you have to make and must be ready to make. But Benilde has guided us to a path where we won't lose our self-expression. The only thing left to do is to trust yourself and trust that path.
Martial Law to Deum and Denisa Reyes features the final project requirement of HISTOF ODDA 01 for Term 3 School Year 2020 to 2021, named HISTOF TV. We just thought it to be too good to not share with everyone. HISTOF TV is a television talk show featuring Miss Denisa Reyes as the interviewee. It zeroes in on the role of creative thinkers and dance makers and how they provide society with critiques on political, economic, and social systems, essentially pushing communities to engage thoughtfully and make steps toward progress. We hope to open your eyes to Denisa Reyes' unique choreographic processes in creating her social commentary on martial law called Te Deum. I'm not going to say more or I'll spill the beans, as they say. Let me now turn you over to the hosts of HISTOF TV, Angel Espiritu and Kimi Bautista. Enjoy, everyone, and see you later.
Magandang umaga sa lahat. Welcome to HISTOF TV, where we talk about the history of Philippine dance and its significance in our current age. I am Angel Espiritu, and with me here today is Camille Bautista.
Today we have a special guest with us to discuss her revolutionary piece, the Deum. We have a privilege of interviewing her in our search to know more about our local dance landscape.
Denisa Reyes holds an impressive line of works ranging from choreographing classical ballet to modern and contemporary dance, musical theater, video and dance, directing, producing dance documentaries, and full feature films. A former member of Ballet Philippines, Denisa finished her BFA in dance with honors at the State of University of New York and joined several modern dance companies while in New York City. As an artistic director of Ballet Philippines, she introduced the Neo-Filipino dance series, her most significant contribution to Philippine dance scene. She has collaborated with Tanghalang Filipino, Philippine Ballet Theater, PETA, Actors Actor Inc., Repertory Philippines, and Virgin Lab Fest. Denisa has earned commissioned works with the City Contemporary Dance Company in Hong Kong for Asian Cultural Councils, New Direction in Asian Contemporary Dance, the Substation in Singapore, the Sutra Dance Theater in Kuala Lumpur, the ASEAN Flagship Project Realizing Rama, and grants from the NCCA, Asian Cultural Council, ASEAN Creative Interaction, Artist Network Asia, and Cinema One Originals. She was a choreographer for Shanghai 2010 Expo and several ASEAN Summit events held in the Philippines. Denisa was a recipient of the City of Manila Outstanding Artist Award for Dance, Amazing Alumni Award for the Miriam College, awardee for Culture and Arts in Bulacan, two-time Phil Stage awardee for Outstanding Choreography for a Musical and Lifetime Achievement Award, and the Gawad CCP para sa Sining in Dance. Denisa is a member of the Advisory Panel for Philippine High School for the Arts, the De La Salle College of St. Benil School of Arts and Design Council of Advisors, and co-director, mentor for the CCP Choreographer Series, an initiative towards the development of the next generation of Filipino choreographers. Miss Denisa, everyone. Welcome to HISTOF TV, a special project of our History of Philippine Dance class at the College of St. Benil. It's a pleasure to have you with us today. We encountered your name in our study of Philippine dance and would like to know more about you. How are you, Miss Denisa?
I'm good. I'm happy to be with you tonight. It's nighttime here. It's 7:15 and I know it's 8:15 in Manila. Yeah? Yeah, so we're in a very
Thank you so much
different
for
time.
joining us. Thank you so much for joining us today. Really, we are super honored to have you.
And I'm very, very, very pleased and I'm honored also. Thank you for inviting me.
Let's get right into it. We would love to know what drove you to create Te Deum. Would you care to let us know your inspiration?
Well, guys, when I was your age, I went to study in the State University of New York, in New York City, USA. I graduated in I majored in dance. And then when I graduated, I decided to live in New York for, I thought, forever. And I was missing the Philippines very much. During that time, it was martial law. And I was there being an activista in the streets of New York against the Marcos martial law. And I was missing the Philippines a lot. I was so concerned about what was happening back home. And then Alice Reyes, who was then artistic director of Ballet Philippines, called me and asked me if I could be an acting artistic director while she did her sabbatical. And I said, yes, just fly me for free and I'll be there. So I was there in 1985 to 1986 for one year. I took over the company, Ballet Philippines, and became acting artistic director. And I was so stunned with what was happening in our country. There was going to be elections, I think 1986, and I did partake in the EDSA revolution, and then there was the fraudulent elections of which I volunteered to be part of the election. They called it something where you went to your barangay and made sure that the ballots were safe. Okay, this was 1985, guys. So then I got inspired to do something about what I felt about how the country was having been gone for 10 years. And then I discovered this wonderful music of George Bizet. George Bizet did Carmen. I don't know if you know Carmen, it's an opera. And I discovered this music of his, which is a sacred, it's a mass. It's a Christian mass or Catholic mass, but they call it sacred music. And when I listened to it, I said, hey, I'm going to do a choreography about how I feel about the Philippines, having been gone for 10 years. And I started to work on Deum.
Oh, that sounds so cool.
Yeah. No,
It
I mean,
sounds
I'm sharing
super
this,
cool.
guys, because I think maybe you might have that kind of journey in your careers as dancers, you know. Yeah, you should plan on it after the COVID. It will come. It will come.
That sounds super cool, Miss. But for those who might not know yet, I mean, for me and Angel, we both were not born at the time. So
I
what is the
know.
main what is
I
the main
know.
story of Deum?
It's not a story, Camille. There's some choreographies that have storytelling. You know, that means there's a narration. It's a narrative choreography. Deum is more of an essay. To me, I call it an essay, very much based on the music. There are 4 parts. And while I was listening to it, I decided, okay, I'm going to talk about my inspiration, which is the Philippines in 1985, according to the music in 4 parts. Okay. Yeah. And so the first part of the music is very grand. The second part is kind of a soprano solo. And then the third part is a tenor solo. And then the fourth part is, again, a finale. So I just followed the music, basically. And I really wanted to express my feelings about what I saw that was happening then during 1985 in the Philippines, in Manila, especially in Manila.
Ah, sounds really
So,
inspiring and interesting as well po.
well, also, no, it was I was inspired to express how Filipinos were then tired of the martial law. There were the human rights abuses. There were extrajudicial killings. Like, sounds familiar, right, guys?
Yes.
Arrests of journalists, closing of newspapers and TV channels that criticized the government. It was awful. I mean, the loss of the freedom of the press, freedom of speech. It was awful, guys. So I wanted to express that, and I found the Deum, the music, uh, would emote that feeling that I had. It was very heavy for me at the time.
Yeah. Actually sounds super timely.
I
But
know.
for
I
now,
thought that you thought about the Deum, or maybe Nina did, because it is quite timely, guys. Yes, it is.
so we will hear more inspiring and timely stories after this short break.
Hi, I'm Gabriel Lagarta, and this is a special segment of our History of the Philippines TV. Dancing is very important to the Filipino community. Dancing has been a part of the Philippines since pre colonial time. Natives used dancing to tell stories, celebrate life, call upon Mother Nature. Filipinos just simply love to dance. Now, without further ado, I'd like to present our trivia of the day. For today's trivia of the day, it's all about itik-itik dance. Now, what is itik-itik dance? Itik-itik is a popular Filipino legend. States that this dance was created by a young Filipina maiden dancer of Surigao del Norte. Her name is Kanang, who was considered to be the best dancer in the Surigao province. This unique dance was then named itik-itik since the word itik means duck in local language, which is Tagalog. But wait, that's not it. Did you know apparently, due to her dancing prowess, she was asked to perform the sibay, another important Filipino dance. While performing the sibay, she got inspired by the music and decided to improvise the dance steps borrowing from movements of a duck. Crazy, right? From an inspiration breeds new dance. Itik-itik is performed to the tune of Dejadu. The musical instrument mainly used in this dance form is the rondella, the budrians, mandolis, guitars, basses, drums, and banjos are also used. The dance is composed of pair of dancers, one male and a female. In terms of technique, this dance involves imitating movements seen in a duck. Furthermore, the movements involved in this dance include wading, flying, short, choppy steps. Today's modern day, itik-itik can be seen in school programs, especially during Foundation Day, Lonigo ng Wika program, or any programs that commemorate nationalism. In school, teaching itik-itik dance is a part of the educational curriculum. And because Filipinos are all over the world, some Filipinos also showcase Philippine folk dance like the itik-itik in different countries. And did you know that itik-itik is currently used for therapy purposes in the US? Amazing, right? How famous can a duck get? From only being a local dance in the Philippines, it has now reached beyond borders. This has been the trivia of the day. Thank you for listening. And now, let's go back to our show.
Welcome back to His Stuff TV. We are here today with Miss Denisa Reyes to discuss her work to Deum and her choreographic process. We would love to know how you chose this specific piece of music. Was there any significance in choosing this specific music for Deum?
Okay. The music brought out my love for my country, the Philippines, and also for my fellow citizens like yourselves. During that time, it was a very oppressive time, and the music somehow is like a prayer. I think it was my prayer for the country to be released from the oppression. Yeah, it was a prayer.
Actually, you mentioning prayer actually leads to our next question. The question here say, would you say Te Deum served its purpose as a prayer during the time of martial law in the Philippines?
Most definitely. Most definitely. It was really my prayer, yeah.
Did you have any specific message you wanted the audience to take away from Deum?
You know, it's really loss of democracy. I think from the history of our country, we fought the Spaniards, we fought Americans, and then we had our own governments run by Filipinos. The Americans were hoping that we would be like Hawaii and be part of the state of the United States. But we fought, our elders, our ancestors, from Mabini, Apolinario Mabini to Aguinaldo to Bonifacio, they fought for our freedom. And so when President Marcos declared martial law, it's a very sad thing, to lose democracy. So there's so much oppression during the martial law era. A lot of killings, a lot of people were salvaged, a lot of just injustice, and that's not democracy. There was no justice whatsoever. It was ruled by one man. And we have to be careful, guys. Have to be careful that it doesn't happen again.
Yeah. So an excerpt of Te Deum was restaged actually once for BPAD. Did their performance, knowing that their skill set is different from ballet Philippine dancers, manage to still bring the message across successfully? Or what did BPAD students bring to the piece as opposed to that of the professional dancers?
That question is a little bit tricky, guys, because first of all, it was the day was choreographed. When you become choreographers, you will choose the dancers and all that. But I was then artistic director of professional ballet and modern dancers. They were trained every single day. What was wonderful about restaging it is that there's that youth and almost the innocence of how they were able to essay the dance. I loved it, and also sharing with them this very important piece of mine. No, they were wonderful. It's a whole different take, okay, guys? You can't compare. Cannot.
I agree.
Yeah, right.
Loving all the knowledge being shared, Miss. We will be right back with an even more amazing conversations after this short break.
Nagbabagang balita. Nag-viral ang isang post ng mananayaw sa Facebook ukol sa usapin na wala raw kinikilalang national dance ang Pilipinas. Kumbaga, kung sa kanta ay may Philippine National Anthem na kung tawagin ay lupang hinirang, bakit sa sayaw ay walang Philippine National Dance? Marahil ang ating bansa ay maraming iba't ibang kultura at kultural na sayaw mula Luzon hanggang Mindanao. At sa kadahilan ng ito, mahirap nga naman magkaroon ng isang sayaw na magiging pagkakakilanlan ng ating bansa. Nang dahil sa curiosity, sinubukan ng aming team mag-search tungkol sa usapin na ito. At ang madalas na lumabas ay tinikling raw ang national dance ng Pilipinas. Ngunit hindi opisyal ang impormasyon na ito. Naisasaad lamang iyon dahil sa kasikatang taglay ng sayaw na tinikling. Mula noon hanggang ngayon, walang kinikilalang national dance ang Pilipinas. Panahon na nga ba upang ang Pilipinas ay magkaroon ng Philippine National Dance? Ako po si Nico Herman, nag-uulat.
We're back for more of His Stuff TV. Now we'd love to know more about your choreographic process. So like when storytelling, or like with creating your essay, what aspect do you think is most important, or what do you think comes first?
Yeah, okay, again, with the Deum, it's not, there's no story. When I started it, I listened to the music, which inspired me, and then I started to write down per section. Well, first of all, overall concept. My overall concept, as I had mentioned earlier, is really about what was happening in the country. And then I sliced it into 4 sections, just like the music. And my theme was really the oppression of Filipinos and the hope at the end, the fourth section, I thought I would end it with a grand hope that the future will be, we'll get rid of this martial law, the oppressive times in the Philippines, and we will have better leaders. Okay. So there has to be a specific concept, a specific theme, and then if the music is the basis of your choreography, then you have to listen to it. I listen to the music every single day. I counted it. I counted every single phrase of the music, and it gave me the impetus of how to come out with how to design the dancers on stage. If you notice, it's very minimal. There were just 8 dancers, and it was fun to. It's almost like what I did also was I would put, little lighters and put it on my table and start plotting the spatial design of the dancers according to the music, or I would draw it. So it was very fun to do, but also again so much reflection on the country. Don't forget, I told you that it was my first time to be home in 10 years. So I think it was a very emotional piece. I was feeling very sad about the Philippines.
What about choreographing this would you say is the most challenging?
Guys, unfortunately, well, we're like visual artists and composers and writers. Any artist, we start with a blank plate. It's a canvas. For visual artists, it's a blank canvas, and then they have their colors and their paint brushes. Choreographing is very, very difficult because, again, it's an empty canvas. And then you have human beings as your instrument. And some human beings will have their period. They're not in a good mood when they come into rehearsals. Or maybe they had a fight with their boyfriends, so they're a little bit sad. So you have to motivate all your dancers to be with you and to collaborate with you with your concept. So you have to be very clear when you step into the studio. You have to be very clear. You have to motivate your dancers, talk to them about your plans, what your ideas are. They're collaborators. What is challenging is that sometimes I have to give you a confession. Sometimes I have to pretend that I know what I'm doing, but actually I'm insecure and I don't know what I'm doing, how to go on to the next, during rehearsals. And the hard thing also, especially for choreographers who are independent, you have to hire a studio, so the time is most important. If you're just renting a studio, which charges you, I don't know how much studios now charge, but you have to be prepared, right? When you step into that studio, you have dancers who are sad or pinagalito ng nanay nila or they're having problems. But you have to say, hey guys, okay, 3 hours, we have this rehearsal and this, but you have to be, so sometimes I kind of fake it a little bit, like I know what I'm doing, but sometimes I don't know what I'm doing. That's difficult because you're working with human beings, with people,
So, Miss, actually, this is
Yeah.
this is not part of the questions, but
Yes, go
I'm
ahead.
just so curious. For something like the Deum, how long does like the process take for you to create it, or do you come in with most of it choreographed, or is it really a longer process where you experiment and then you see that something doesn't work and then you try it out the next day?
Yeah, nice question.
How long does that take?
I know. I'm known to be a change. I keep changing. It's like a painter, when you paint and then you kind of paint over it because you don't like the colors. I'm known to be a choreographer that keeps changing, which is a big fault. But sometimes I like what I've changed, or sometimes there are accidents that some dancers do. Say, hey, I like that. Let's keep that better than what I had planned. It depends, Camille. As I said, I was artistic director, so I was the boss. So I had enough time to really twinkle with Deum. But as other choreographers, sometimes it's also good to be in a rush, because then the impulse, it's you get impulsive, and don't be afraid to make mistakes, because you can make mistakes and you can fail. The Deum is one of the pieces that I'm proud of, because I think structurally it was very concise. But I've had works where I was rushed, man. It was difficult, before you know it, opening night already, diba? So it depends. This Deum, I think, if I can recall, must have taken about 2 to 3 weeks, perhaps.
Wow.
Depends. It depends. I mean, if you know, so other choreographers who do what you call studies and put it together, which is a nice process. But this one, because we were at the culture center of the Philippines, it's really quite fast. But you're working with professional dancers; they're pretty good at counting. They're pretty good at, and it's a company, so they've worked together as a team, so it's easier. I was lucky. I was really really lucky to have done it with Ballet Philippines.
So like for you, someone who has so much knowledge on creating, what would you say, another controversial question, what would you say distinguishes a great choreography from a bad one?
Yeah, I think once again, I would like to emphasize that you have to be very clear with your message. You have to know what you want to say, because it's an expression, dance, movement, the art form of dance. The choreographer wants to express something. Hey, you can express something about your boyfriend. Oh, I broke up with my boyfriend. That's my theme. I want to express how I hate him so much, and I want to kill him. Okay, now there's storytelling. Okay, blah blah blah. But you have to be very clear with your message. Number one. Number two, yeah, it cannot be weak. And then you have to have a structure. You have to have. I told you. I don't know. I didn't teach you composition. You have to have what we call ABA: beginning, a middle, and an end. You have to conclude it. So if you're going to do an exposition of, oh, here's a mother, single mother with a child, homeless in the streets of Manila, and then there's COVID, etc. Right? So you're doing a script actually. What happens with that mother? Now then, this homeless single mother goes and sees that there's a community pantry, was able to feed the child, and then how do you conclude it, right? So yun, you tell a story about, that's why I always tell choreographers, have a little notebook, go out in the street or even in your houses, and then observe your mother, observe your father or your siblings now that you're locked down. It will give you ideas on your storytelling, what happens. There was a Wi-Fi choreographer that the father was I think was OFW, and his house was full of boxes. So he created a dance which is very, very masikip with the boxes of the father, etc. So he created a dance on that. You know what I'm saying? It's wonderful to just do whatever it is that you have within your reach, within your spectrum, your landscape, and create a dance from there. It's creativity. Creativity. That's what it is. And then, of course, you have to have structure. And then don't be arrogant with your audience. Try to tell your story very sincerely. This is my story. But what distinguishes a great choreography from a bad one is the sincerity, I think, of the choreographer, and the passion, the need to say something. It's a need. It's a necessity um, to express something that you feel, and it doesn't have to be political, guys. It doesn't have to be. It can be anything really, but express it to the audience in so many ways that they get it. Because dance is very abstract, guys, huh? Very abstract, right? It is. It's not literature where you can read the words, or well, paintings also can get abstract. Poetry is abstract. You know what I'm saying? So, but dance can be very beautiful with the human body, just movement in space and music.
So, Miss, what is your process like when you're making Deum? Are you driven by the music first, or a specific concept like martial law in this instance?
Both. I was driven by the music, but the martial law. By the way, it wasn't martial law anymore. But again, he ended it 1981. This was done 1985. But the society was just so tired of how Marcos was making it, so that he becomes really a dictator. It was very inspiring at the same time, because the emotion was so deep on my end. It was very deep, guys. That's because I love the country. I miss the Philippines.
So, Miss, talking about, art and society, since it was
Yeah.
inspired by martial law, would you believe that art reflects society, or would it be that society reflects art? Or what is your take on this concept?
It's up to the artist. I encourage choreographers to um, contribute to the present pulse of society. Right now, there's a pulse going on in the Philippines, right? Under this government. Then we have the pandemic. So I think the young artists like yourselves can contribute to it by recording it. And you're going to record this pandemic with your own. It's the next. You're the next. You're the generation of young artists, dance artists. So start recording how you feel about the pandemic. Yeah, it's the pulse of the society, the pulse of the times, right? We all belong in different societies, right? In the USA now, there is this systemic racial divide, right? They have the Black Lives Matter. There's a lot of issues, political divide happening with Trump, and then there's their election rights are being tampered with, etc. And so the artists are, it's their way to be act to contribute to the society, what's happening with society. So it really depends, Camille, whether the artist can be also very personal. It'll come out then. The society, we are all we all belong to a society, right? But then again, if it's global, there is the ongoing environmental problem, right? It affects all countries all over the world. The earth is dying, so that's a global issue. So it's not just society, it's about the earth, correct? And then there's now what they're talking here in the US is that they're now creating robots. So again, there's this what do you call it? People are against it, people are with it. It's the progress of society. I mean, scientists are thinking of other things. I mean, going to the moon, etc. So I don't know. It's a very good question, but I think as an artist, maybe in of a third world country, I'm Filipino. It's my society that I mostly like to create dances from. There's poverty, there's overpopulation, there's bad governance, and then there's the wonderful Filipino um, uh, sense of joy. I say Filipinos are always so happy and compliant. And the good and the bad. There's the good and the bad of our trait, Filipino trait, our zeitgeist, how we are as a society, how we are as Filipinos, traditions, blah, blah, blah. So, really depends on the individual artist.
Miss, what education, schooling, or skills are needed to become a choreographer of your caliber?
To me, it's a school of passion and hard work. There are wonderful choreographers who did not even finish high school, but found new things, traveled all over the world, or got stoned or did some drugs. But for some reason, if you are an artist, you will find it. But knowing the craft, which is what you're doing in St. Benil, is very crucial, because an artist will always rebel. But if you don't know the rules, like you guys, you live with your parents, and the rules of your parents are, we gotta eat together, we gotta pray before eating, you have to follow mom and dad's rule while you're under our roof. Now, if you have a boyfriend and you want to get married, then it changes. Then the rules on being a wife or a mother, a young mother like you guys, rules will be rules, which is very important. You cannot break the rules if you don't know the rules, is my motto. So I encourage you to know the rules of composition, dance composition, know the structure, and later on when you say, hey, you know what, I'm tired with this structure and the rules, I'm gonna break it. A lot visual artists do that, composers do that. They first learn the craft of composing, of painting, and then they break it. Same as dance, same as choreography.
I guess now, what advice would you offer to someone considering this career?
There's no money in it, guys. Forget it. No, I'm joking. What is my advice for the next generation of choreographers? Be brave. Ask questions all the time. Everyone, not just your teachers. Ask questions from your senators, your congressmen. Ask questions from your classmates, your boyfriends. Ask questions and be curious. Don't be afraid to fail. Yeah. And if you're going into the arts, learn how to be professional, be on time. Don't be be humble. Be humble. And be national. Love your country, and then also become global. Also, don't be like this. Don't be close-minded as artists. Expose yourselves to all sorts of things about the world, about the provinces in the Philippines, about Asia, ASEAN countries. There's so much to cull from. So much. I think I would say my dream for our young dance makers is to be able to travel and open your world to other peoples. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you for answering. Honestly, that gives a lot of inspiration. So despite where the arts is right now, what would you say are your goals or dreams for the future? Or even now?
I want to go back to the Philippines as soon as this COVID is finished. I think it's going to be hard to go back home. I might not be able to come back to my husband, who is an American, and we're living here, and he's also teaching. So I don't want to take the chance to go back home, which I really am dying to, because of the situation. But I'm also about ready to retire. So I hope that I will continue to be asked by young kids like you to talk to you about. Yeah, I mean, I'm a dance artist, and I think there's a lot of talented dancers. Choreographers a bit tricky. I think we still need to really uh, analyze. It's good that Miss Nina is teaching you Philippine history, because there's that history of choreographers in the 1940s, 30s, 40s, 50s. And for you to know your history, guys, it's very important, because then you are going to be history. When you have grandchildren, you would be, you've added to the development of dance, Philippine dance. So it's very important to know what happened in the past, because you're the future ones, guys.
That was really insightful, Miss. We will be
Yeah.
right back after this short break. Stay tuned.
Uy mga Dapper Gods, how are you guys today? I hope you're all doing great. Well, I'm here to spill some trivia facts about the Aitas. My name is Precious Permil, and let's dive in to the interesting facts about the Aita tribe. Did you know the Aitas came from Africa? Yep, you heard that right. The Aita tribe are the first people to migrate out of Africa to Asia. African people migrated in different parts of Asia. That is including the Philippines, which was over 20 to 17,000 years ago. That's actually cool, right? The Negritos, or the black people of the Philippines, are comprised of approximately 25 ethno-linguistic groups widely scattered. They are located in isolated regions along the foothills of the Mount Pinatubo in Zambales Range in the province of Pampanga. There is actually a sad part about it. The Aita tribe, they don't really have much record about their past, which most of their history is actually forgotten, because during the 1900s, they were trained by the United States military on the Vietnam War. But their training was actually put into good use, because they say that they're the most skilled when it comes to jungle survival. They're even able to make use of plants as herbal medicine and possess tools and weapons. It doesn't stop there. Let's talk about the Anitawan, or their traditional dance in Aita tribe. They learn to dance in order to communicate with other people. Their dance are the mirrors of their emotions. They have different examples of mimetic dance to showcase the movement of animals. They do this since they grew up seeing their ancestors doing these dances. They actually have a different way to court the person they love. And you know what is that? It's dancing! The F word, am I right? But if the woman has a two-courtship in her hair, haba ng hair sis, a woman would have a handkerchief, and the two-courtship will dance around the girl, and whoever she placed that handkerchief to, he'll be the lucky man. Grabe ang effort! How about you guys out there? Are you guys going to dance for the person you love so you can win their love?
Uy, sana all!
Kilig naman! Well, that is all for today's trivia fact about the Aita tribe. I hope you learned something that catches your attention. My name is Precious Fermin once again, and come back soon!
Welcome back to the show. Now, as we wrap up, we do have a couple more questions. Miss Denisa, I know this might be a question with many complicated answers, but we would love to know what you think. Is COVID killing the arts?
No, of course not. In fact, COVID will introduce a whole new and exciting ways of expressing dance through technology, and dance will and should continue to aggressively partner with other art forms, especially film. Okay, dance will tell and articulate stories about this pandemic war. It's a war, guys. We're undergoing a war. Okay, And it's gonna go on for 2 years. Hopefully not, but it could, and it will reflect what we have all been through as individual artists. And I look forward to this young generation of dance artists again to be able to express. It's recording what is happening right now. I mean, it's going to be historical, guys, this COVID. And but let us not be afraid to experiment with film. I think COVID will, in fact, enhance feelings and reflections. What could you talk about with your COVID experiences? What is it? What are your specific personal take on this COVID? Express it in dance, man. Just do a study about how you really feel. So no, my answer is no, no, no. COVID will be very, very much new, and to me, I would call it a step to discovering new ways of expressing artists expressing themselves. So no.
So, unfortunately, we are finally towards the end of our interview. And the
Okay.
question that's going on in our minds is any message for like aspiring dancers or choreographers or teachers who are struggling in this time of the pandemic?
Well, life is a struggle, guys. There's ups and downs, and we're kind of on a down. We just have to listen to science, and we have to demand, as citizens of our beautiful country, demand from the government to take care of the citizens. Demand, write letters to your senators, participate in society, in our society, Philippine society. That's all I can say. I mean, art will always be there. It will always flourish, whether there's a war or, remember, the world has had many, many wars, right? They're ongoing right now in Mindanao, I think. I don't know what's happening in Mindanao, but, there's problems in Israel, there's problems in Afghanistan. Read the news, know also about other people that are suffering. Life is a struggle, and this is where, unfortunately, we got into this pandemic. All of us. Put it in your art. It's healing. The art is always the healer, right? If you want to soothe your anxieties and your depressions and your concerns, put it in your art. Go in that room of yours, play some nice music, and dance to it and feel it. Okay?
It's such a shame, but our time is just about up.
Okay.
And we know we've only just touched the tip of the iceberg where dance and Miss Denisa Reyes is concerned.
Okay, well, thank you so much. And I really enjoyed talking to the two of you. And thank you for your questions. Thank you for asking me to share my artistry. And good luck, guys.
So, I mean, you did mention it for a while ago, but I'm pretty sure our listeners would like to follow your next steps. How do they do that? Please feel free to plug in your current projects for them to watch out for.
Sure. I just finished a project in Dubai. I choreographed for our expo, our Philippine. We don't know if it's in October 2021, this October, and I choreographed with JM Kabling. So we collaborated, and we also collaborated with a Korean director who knows how to do techno in huge screens. It'll be out October. I can share if you want. Once he gives me his final draft, it will be in Dubai World Expo, our Philippine Pavilion. They will show it in our Philippine Pavilion. That's what I've just finished, guys. And now I just really look forward. I've nothing set except mentoring for Choreolab. Please watch Choreolab, guys. Directed by Myra Beltran, and I've mentored 3 choreographers. Get to know other things that are happening with dance in the Philippines and outside. You know, while we're stuck in our homes, take advantage of that.
We appreciate your coming to our show, His Stuff TV, and wish you more success in the future.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Camille and Angeline.
This is Angel and Camille of His Stuff TV, signing off. Have a good day.
And you didn't think one could engage in thoughtful conversations on the performance of cultural identity and the political and artistic interventions involved in the creative process. I love too how positive Denisa remains. She can stare at COVID right in the eye and will it to go away. And yes, she's right. Dance making doesn't have to stop despite whatever's going on in the world. I dare you to stare at COVID right in the eye as Denisa does, and will it to just disappear. Acknowledgements are in order. Thank you to Kimi Bautista for leading the charge in His Stuff TV, Nico Herman for holding the editing reins, Angel Espiritu and Kimi Bautista for your seamless interview, Precious Fermil, Gab Lugarta, and Nico Herman for the trivia segments, Ralph Nugid for technical support, and of course, Denisa Reyes for gracing His Stuff TV with your presence and continuing to be an inspiration to us all. This is Nina Anonas, Chair of the Benil Dance Program, signing out.